Everett, this is KF7, UHK. Evening, Jessica. This is James, WW7ATS. Hi, James. Doing tonight, James? Your first syllable got truncated. Something about doing tonight? Wondering how you doing tonight? Definitely hanging in there. I'll see if I can get through the net tonight, and look forward to chatting with everybody. Listen to hear everyone's exciting week. Good.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll find information on the frequencies that we transmit on. Also a little history about our group. And there you will find a link to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5, a specific tone of 103.5 for our nets. And this is Dave, KD7CYM. I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So far checked in via video link is Ron, KD7QKU, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else who would like to check into the net this evening?
KF7UHK.
UHK, Jessica, thank you for checking into the net. Well, let's start the net off with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. Good evening to the group, KD7QKU here, yes, in Tacoma. And good evening to Jessica. I can't see her, but I heard her. And I thought James was going to come on for a minute, but I don't see him. I sent him a text earlier this evening to see how he was doing. And he said thank you, but he didn't tell me how he was doing. So today I saw Wade for a minute. He came over and picked me up, and we went over to the Tacoma Ham Clubhouse for a few minutes. He's on call this weekend, so he said he might not be here. He was up, I think, working a lot last night or something, and he said he might just go to bed. So anyway, I was telling Bob, whenever we ride together, I usually try to pick his brain about something. So today I was talking about my cell phone. I would like to take videos on my little cell phone and then be able to show them on Zoom. And he's, indicated, well, that's fine, and you can just get them into the cloud, and then you get them out of the cloud on your computer. But that's a little over my head. So anyway, I gotta get him to maybe demonstrate, show me once, and then maybe I can do it. But I almost always have my cell phone. I have a little holster, and I carry my cell phone with me, so I could take videos, of things that are happening with my cell phone. Then I could share them with you guys. I have a nice video camera, but it's in the cupboard, and it's never with me, unless I, take it with me deliberately, knowing I'm going to do something like that. So anyway, I just thought it would give me more things to share. So I guess that's it for now. So looks like Lee's going to join us. So back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, yes, and the net acknowledges Lee in 7KC has joined. So coming up next is Jessica, KF7UHK.
Jessica, KF7UHK up here in Everett. Good to hear you, Ron. So you sound pretty chipper today. I'm looking for we're looking for picking people's brains. I'm looking for a program that will do a good timeline, because I have some dates that are important that I need to follow along, and I'd like to be able to display this to say people at work if I need to show them something. And so I usually use Excel for my time things, because I can put dates in it, and it will count down. So timeline, if anybody has any ideas of a good program that does that, that's safe off the internet, should we appreciate that. Today I was watching a movie, and it's called Sahara, with Matthew McConaughey, and it was a silly movie, but in the background I kept on hearing this beeping noise. Turned out to be my radio right here on the APRS channel was sending out some kind of emergency. Someone's radio was sending out. It was Kilo Delta 7 Golf Delta Quebec KD7 GDQ was sending out a emergency signal, and it did it for so long I actually turned my radio off, which I haven't done for probably years. And so I found that interesting. I wonder if someone's radio just got stuck, or they leaned on a button or something, because I don't know of any actual emergency that was happening out there today. So if anybody knows anything about that, I would be interested. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it back to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Port Angeles to Lee in 7KC.
N7KC.
There, I got my transmit light. Am I getting in? Good, okay. Well, Lee here, N7KC in Port Angeles. Good evening to you fellers and Jessica. Yeah, very good. Well, let's see. Today was Saturday. We used to have season symphony tickets here. We have a wonderful symphony. And, but when COVID came, well, they shut the symphony down. It's the oldest community symphony in the state of Washington, 90 years this year. But the couple of years during COVID, they couldn't meet, right? So they're back at it. Well, we used to go Saturday nights, and now we go Saturday mornings to the dress rehearsal. And a lot of folks that are starting to accumulate a few years do that. In fact, they had probably 500 people in, seated today for the dress rehearsal. It's not really a dress rehearsal. They don't wear their finery, and nobody else wears anything fine either. So you just get to get in there and listen to some good music. And today, or for tonight, but today we got to hear him, and we heard him last year too, is Julian Schwartz. He's a renowned cello player, world famous. He's wonderful. And he's the son of Gerard Schwartz, who used to direct the Seattle Symphony and all that sort of thing. Anyway, he did a concerto in G minor for cello with orchestra, and it was just outrageously stunning. It was quite a performance, really a lot of fun. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so, and then we went to lunch after that. Starts at 10, so by the time everything was over, it was lunchtime. So, nice day here in PA. No complaints. Back to you, Dave. N7KC, Leah, Port Angeles.
KC, thanks for that. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Well, hello everybody. Good evening, and as usual, I don't have a whole lot to report from my own personal life, but I can already comment on a couple things. I looked up KD7GDQ. They are the Washington Explorer Search and Rescue, Pierce County, apparently. It said Pierce. I assume it's Pierce County. And they have a trustee you can contact as well, but that's where that was coming from, Jessica. So that's kind of interesting that you got it wherever you are, unless it's on some kind of a network that transmits all around the Western Washington area or something like that. I'm kind of curious how if there's some relay stations or how that works. And interesting, Julian Schwartz. I do remember when you said his name. His father was the conductor of the Seattle Symphony. Oh, Gerard, and that takes me back a ways. So good for you for hearing that. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I guess that's it for starters. I'll send it back to that K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. And it's time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Hello, Dio. Hi, everyone. So just right off the bat, as I was waiting to see the net start, I was looking at some of the old YouTubes. There was one right before Christmas that we had, our net. How about 142 views? Most of them are 10 or 12 or 4. There might be a few 20 or 40, but 142. That must have had a Christmas party or something, and I don't know. That's quite the shocker. So anyway, let's see what else. Here, I'll just make sure that everyone is muted just for safety keeps. Okay. So and Ron, I don't know that you know how to do this, but this is how I do it when I have video on my iPhone. You can send it, and you might have to go to more of all the options, but you send it by email to yourself, and when you do that, then you open up your email and you can grab the attachment, and there you go. You can put it somewhere on your desktop. So that's just an idea. And let's see. And Jessica, you might try doing some research and look for project manager Microsoft has a very expensive program called Project Manager, or something of that nature. I used it quite a bit, but it was always paid for. However, there's got to be a freeware version of Project Manager, and that has a pretty sophisticated timeline that you might find useful. Does it exist? I don't know. It's just a thought. Usually, lots of times when Microsoft has an expensive program, like Excel or Word, there's typically a freeware version of it out there. And Lee, the symphony, yes, indeed. My mother literally forced me to go to Handel's Messiah every year from probably 5 years old to 14 or 15, I don't know, and eventually I actually joined the Tacoma Youth Symphony. But the Tacoma Symphony did a great concert, along with the chorus, of course. I don't remember. My mom might have even been in the choir, I'm not sure. But, oh yes. And then also, now probably one of my most favorite orchestra is Electric Light Orchestra. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but it's a pretty famous rock band, and they kind of sound like the Beatles quite a bit, but they've got quite a few songs, if you will, that are in movies and things like that. They're known as ELO for short, Electric Light Orchestra. So, I'll talk about some of my other things that I've been up to next time around. K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm having some computer issues here tonight. I've got everyone on the 1.2 gigahertz. I've got good color, but I have my usual not real good quality picture. Let's see. Yeah, cell phone video. I don't know. I don't like using the cloud. I will bet there's a way that you could transfer from the phone directly to a computer. But I can't say that I've done it before. Dick's idea sounds good to me. Jessica, I can't help you with the timeline program. I think Dick's advice was sound on that. I did, not too awfully long ago, my wife got some sort of message on her cell phone about some big traffic jam on Highway 18. And it just said something about people might want to use a different route, but did not open the message to see any of the details. So maybe there's something going on out there. Julian Schwartz, yeah. Well, that sounds good, Lee. I would definitely be going to the morning practices as well, and going to lunch after that. Yeah, that sounds like a good way to spend part of Saturday. And Dick, 142 views. Holy cow! Who would have thought? Don't know what happened there. Don't know what else to say. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, let's go to a healthy James, WW7N.
stronger every day. ELO, Richard. Wow, that brought back some memories. I had forgotten about Electric Light Orchestra. I didn't consider that they were kind of a Beatles clone, weren't they? But okay, timeline program. I was going to suggest the same thing Richard did. MS Project. I actually took a course on that, a decade and a half ago, so I don't know what it is. I've never used it since. But I do recall it had excellent timelining things, and you could put things in pretty sophisticated in what you could put on a timeline and then print it out and stick it up on the whiteboard where everyone would beat it up. Lee, how times have changed. I remember recommending something where, why don't you let people come to a dress rehearsal? Gosh, that was like in the 70s or something, and I remember the person in charge kind of looked at me like I had just let off some kind of horrible flatulence or something. You know, the idea didn't go over well at all. Then and now I don't understand why not. It seems like a good idea. Something to share tonight. This is the perfect help desk answer. So let's see if we can get this to come up here. I don't know if there's enough resolution on 1.2 gigahertz to see that or not, or if there's enough on the digital side to see it. But it is an absolutely accurate answer. And then you know, based on that accurate information, the action is prosecuted. And then, of course, there's something there that, well, you didn't ask the right question, now did you? Just kind of symbolic of what I've been going through for the last few months. So anyway, this is James, WW7N. It's 20 minutes after the hour here on the west coast of the United States, and I'm going to turn it back to our net control, Dave. Take it away, Dave.
WW7N, very good cartoon. And this is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Well, I've been fighting a little bit of a cold with the sniffles today, but I think I will survive. We've got 45 degrees overcast here in Lake City, and it's just been interesting listening to everybody today, this evening, of what's going on in the area. So with that, I'm going to send it back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you. KD7QKU here again. Well, it was nice to see James tonight, and I see Jim's back, so it's good to see Jim. So, let's see. Yeah, Lee, good music, yeah. We went down to the Benaroya in Seattle once in a while and listened to some good music. And then we used to always go to the Travelogues, and then let's see what else. We did, National Geographic. We'd go to the National Geographic too. But we don't do any of that stuff anymore. But it was fun to get out and do those things. We even went to Fifth Avenue Theater quite a bit once upon a time. But then we decided to get season tickets for the Issaquah Theater. There is a theater close to us over here that I think we should go to, but we never have. I forget about it, to tell you the truth. So, let's see. I don't have a whole lot either. We went over to the Tacoma Ham Club house, and there was quite a few people. We got over there a little bit late. First, Wade said he wasn't going to go, but then he texted me back and said, yeah, he could get away for a little bit. So I said, sure. So he came by and picked me up, and we went over there. He needed to get out, I needed to get out, so it was a good outing for us. So that's about it here. Nice to have Jessica with us tonight. I hope Sylvia's feeling better. Seemed like one of the last times we talked, you talked to us, Sylvia wasn't feeling too well. But I assume she's back to normal now. All right, I guess that's it. Back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU. Let's go to Everett to Jessica again. KF7UHK.
On
Ron. Sylvia's doing good. She's doing so good that she decided to work this weekend. I think I worked the last time she worked. I also worked a weekend, and I also they called me. Sometimes they'll call you in the morning and say, "Hey, can you take over a couple of rounds early along with the rest of your shift?" And I did that this last week, also, just just to beat myself up just a little bit more. So, but we're both doing pretty good. The medicine they gave us was pretty darn good. It was kind of slow taking on at the end of it, but it hit. The medicine hit really hard. You know, we used to have a friend who played violin in the Cascade Symphony Orchestra down in South Seattle. As a volunteer orchestra, and when our friend died, and we went to go spread his ashes up on a place called Red Top Mountain up near Blewett Pass, the conductor came along with us, and it was just really fun it felt like having a celebrity there. This conductor came along to help spread ashes on top of this mountaintop, and it was a beautiful thing. And Red Top Mountain is really a great place to go hike around a little bit and look around. To take some stuff off your phone, if you have a plug, you can plug into your computer, which I do for my phone. You log onto your phone so it knows that you're actually the actual owner of the phone, and then you can go find it when you go look at your computer and find it like a hard drive, and you can go look for the DCIM, I think it's called, or other places in its directory, and find all your photos and videos. I've done that quite often, and that's how I empty my phone now, is go plug it in and basically copy, delete, and paste somewhere else. ELO, I saw ELO back in I think it was about 1977 or 78. Their concert came to town, and that's what a clever idea of using orchestral instruments in rock music, and they do such a great job at it, and they put on such a great show. When I used to have albums, I used to have all their albums, and always really, really cool. And then lastly, Richard and MS Project Manager, thanks for that idea. I'm gonna keep looking to find just the right thing to do what I want to do. And the reason I bring this up is because my most recent physical for driving buses, I failed one eye, and so I'm looking at possibly taking some time off while I wait for an appointment for possibly a cataract surgery. If that will help, I'll get an evaluation on that. And so I want to make a timeline for my HR department, so I can say, this is my timeline, this is when I run out of time, this is where I'm going to have to take off some time. And I could just retire. This bus money is not paying for my cat food, so I don't have to have this job. But it's kind of nice to have. It pays extra bills, but it also has really great medical, which you just can't beat sometimes. So I may back out that way. And Bob, thanks for your ideas too. I can't remember what you said. I think you gave me the same idea of something like a project manager. So. All right, I'm gonna pass it back. Good to hear from everybody. I am gonna cut out here a little early. I might make this. I'm gonna make my next one probably my last one, because Sylvia will be waltzing in the door, and I'm gonna go make her a really nice marbled Spencer steak for dinner tonight. It should be really good. This is KF7 UHK.
UHK, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Lee in 7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, I pushed the button. I hope it's working. Anyway, okay, very good. Thank you. N7KC in Port Angeles again. Yeah, Ron, I do the same thing as Jessica. I just plug my phone into the computer with a USB cable, and it pops up just like a hard drive. And you write in there just like it's any hard drive on your computer. And it is, the videos I think are under DCIM. It's where you find all of the JPEGs and whatnot. And you just, grab it like any old file and put it where you want it. And you can play it with media player or who knows, anything. There's a lot of them. It works really good. Those files are generally awful big to email. It's better to have it go to a cloud and then just give the person a link to the cloud and they can download it from there. But it's the phone, shucks, it's duck soup. Yesterday I cleaned the sunroom roof. We've had pretty nice weather over here, pretty mild. And it's like an early spring, to be honest. And it's kind of scary because you don't have any real snow up in the Olympics. And of course, we probably maybe get along without, for the water for the city maybe. But it's the low moisture wildfire issue, which is really quite worrisome. A lot of people are kind of worried about that this year because it's going to be, we think, a bad year. Anyway, it gave me an opportunity to get up on the roof and clean the sunroof. It's about 260 square feet. There's 24 glass panels up there. They're 5 millimeter. They're double. What do you call that? Whatever it's called, Richard knows. Anyway, it's tempered glass and all that, but you can't walk out on it. I have to do it from the. When I get above it, it's much easier to do it above it than it is down below it. I've got a brush, an extensible thing that goes out must go out about 16 feet, and I can do it from the ground, but I don't get a very good job. But from up above, I just take a hose up there, and then with sudsy water on top, I can swish it off and clean the junk off of it pretty darn well. Well, I'm about out of time here. Anyway, I was a tired puppy last night, I'll tell you. Anyway, it's N7KC in Port Angeles. Thank you, Dave.
Casey, thanks for that. And time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. I'll pause in case anybody else wants to check into the net. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Hello again, everybody. So I have several notes here. Let's see. First is dress rehearsal. So I have done a few dress rehearsals, quite a few dress rehearsals from my days of stage acting. And occasionally, if somebody was friends with the director, they might get to sit in, or if somebody was, sort of associated with the play in some way, they might get to sit in. But this is where you're wanting to see the whole thing come together and everything done exactly right. But it's not always going to be exactly right, and you usually don't want members of the public to see that. So it kind of depends on how confident you are. And yeah, as Lee said, if it's not a play where you're wearing costumes, you don't really have to dress up. So a dress rehearsal is more, in that case, just the whole thing from start to finish as if it's the real production actually happening. It's your very last rehearsal before you go live, and so you want to do it as if you are live. So that's that. Yeah, the Does Your Dog Bite cartoon is hilarious. I love that. I have heard a different version of it, which is a similar idea of, be careful what you're asking. Somebody asks the guy, does your dog bite? And he says no, and so he goes to pet the dog and it bites him. And the guy says, well, that's not my dog. So, anyway, that might be an oldie, but it's a goodie. Let's see, what else have I got here? Timeline software. I did a quick look while was going on here, and I didn't find anything. I mean, I found a few options for Microsoft Project, but I wasn't aware of them personally. The two places I looked that I thought might have it were LibreOffice and FreeOffice, which are, they do like Excel and Word and that sort of thing, free versions, but they did not do a free version of Project. So there are free versions out there that I found, but I don't know anything about them, so I can't recommend them. And the video share, yeah, Lee, you just made me think of something that I had not thought of, and that is emailing. Not that I recommend that, but you, well, actually, I do, but only in one circumstance. If your phone is on your Wi-Fi at home, Ron, then you can have very fast, internet access, and you don't have to worry about sending large files. So, on your phone, go to your app where you could access the video, where you play it, or the video, or maybe where you took it, and select the video, and then there should be a share button, and do the share button, and have it share it with your email program, and then you can email it to yourself, and I think that should get it done. So if you're on your Wi-Fi, that should be a good one. And that's all. Red Top Mountain, never heard of it. I'm going to check it out, though, on Google Maps here in a moment. So that's all for me. Back to net, K9PQ.
Let's go to Richard, K7ATS in Kent.
Okay, yeah. James, that was a pretty funny cartoon. The only thing that disturbed me a little bit is you compared it to your condition the last month. So that's kind of a mysterious, I don't know. I don't think you don't appear like you were shot, so that can't be it. So hopefully you're okay, and I've had my, since you were gone, I don't know, maybe you did hear one time me complaining that I was going to have to go to the oral surgeon. Well, I did, and he removed a real tiny 3mm piece of bone that was just loose, and so that was pain-free and very relieving, and easy on the pocketbook. There was no, the insurance paid for it and everything, so that was kind of nice. However, the remnants left behind about 2.5 weeks later was the part of the jawbone that the piece came from. And it was a sharp little booger, and eventually poked through, and after I had my wife finally touch it with her finger inside my mouth, because you know how it is when you're trying to figure something out yourself like that. There's quite a bit of built-in bias, but she said, oh, it feels like a little needle. And so I called the oral surgeon the next day, and he saw me the next day. However, it was 6:45 in the morning, so I did get started early. Oh, if it didn't hurt the first time I went to see him, I'm telling you, it did this time. Whew! So without Novocaine, without any painkiller or anything, he ended up, and I didn't know what he was doing. All I knew, it just hurt like H-E-double-L. Holy moly. My legs were kicking up. That's the most pain I've felt, other than my nerve studies where they shock you to death. But I guess what he was doing was, he was with his little instrument, he was grinding and polishing. And it worked. It's gone, there's no needle sticking up. However, he did warn me this might not do the trick. The good news is, this last trip was free, didn't cost me a dime, so I can't complain about that. How often do you go to an oral surgeon and you don't have to pay anything? So that's pretty amazing. And then he even told me the price. If I have to come back and he has to, put me to sleep and, cut the bone down, I guess that's what he did. I can't think of anything else. I didn't read the instructions too closely, but that was going to be like, $300 or $400. So I thought, okay, this isn't as, it's not killing my pocketbook like I first worried about. So that's pretty cool. And Oh yeah, and this whole thing about dress rehearsal. You know, I can see where, in some cases, with some conductors, they might think of it as a kind of a bad idea, because maybe, well, having been in music orchestras and bands and, you know, things with conductors, the conductors can get, generally speaking, they're very not friendly, and they can be very irate and yell and scream and point, and of course if there's an audience they're not going to do that, so it kind of ruins their planning. You know, I think they like to plan for the concert, if you will, and they need quite often every bit of rehearsement time with everybody under the gun to, you know, because it's, you know, like anything with, you know, 50, 60, 70 people, it's never going to be perfect. There's all, you know, and quite often you're never as good as the worst player in the band. So that's got to be. I mean, I've seen conductors that literally, if they could, they would tear your head off. So that's the only thing I can think of. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
QO. Well, Dave Wade just showed up. It just happens to be his time right after Dick. You want to get him first or get me first?
QO, why don't you go ahead and then we'll call him up next.
That N7QO. Well, I missed part of all of this stuff. I've been fighting. My internet seems to be up and down. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe a whole bunch of my neighbors are trying to use it or something. But it seems to have stabilized for whatever reason. So I guess we'll go with that. Let's see, so where I got Jessica, scattering ashes. Oh, yeah. I had a friend of mine scattering his wife's ashes around. That was really sad. And your job, not even paying enough to feed Chloe, man, that is, you deserve more than that. I'm sorry, but holy cow. You work hard, you work long hours. It's I don't know. I might think about quitting if I were doing that. But it's your call. Dick, yeah, I saw Mika there. You were showing Mika. I was offering Mika a mouse here. I don't have anything that more closely resembles a real mouse, but anyway, that was my pea brain at work. What can I say? Let's see. Oh, Jim, I did not catch your cartoon. Sorry, I was busy doing whatever else. And Dick, 6:45 a.m. Holy cow! I would think that anesthesia would not be required at that time of day, but on the other hand, if he's using enough force, maybe that would be enough to wake the dead. I definitely don't like dentists, so sorry about that. And Lee, glass cleaning. I've got a product. I'd have to go to the garage to see what the product is, but it's in a bottle which you connect to a hose, and you spray it up on your outside windows. Like I use it on the higher level windows that I cannot reach without a ladder. So I don't bother with the ladder. I just spray that, and the product has some sort of surfactant in there that causes the glass to dry pretty cleanly. It might be worth a shot trying something like that. I don't know what sort of angle you're dealing with or whatever, but just a thought. I can find the product and give you a recommendation on that if you want. Let's see. Anything else here? Nope, that's it. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, let's see if we got Wade. W7ITL.
W7ITL, and I'm going to make this really short because I have had about 2 hours of sleep today. I been working on stuff for work, and also was doing a side project for somebody, and they both collided and left me with only about 2 hours of sleep, so I am running on fumes, as they say. So besides that, I don't know if Ron said, but I went up to the radio club at Tacoma, and I picked up Ron on the way there, and spent about half an hour, maybe 20 minutes. I don't remember how long it was, but we got to chat with some of the folks over there, and it was pretty fun. Showed off some of my Red Show gear to one of the hams that I see there quite often, so that was fun. And yep, and then I went out to eat with my wife this evening, and had a few beers and had something good to eat. And now I'm ready to go to bed, so I'm going to say 73, folks, and I'll catch you next week. All right, W7ITL, back to net.
W7ITL, we got you 7-3. Let's go to James, WU7N.
Gotta get that sleep in. Go do it. And let's see, Jessica, my unsolicited life advice you paid every penny's worth for is if you get along with everyone at work and everyone gets along with you and you don't hate your job and your job doesn't hate you, then you should probably keep it, especially if it has incredible medical benefits. You never know what's going to happen next. But that's always a tough choice to make. I too, though, was wondering what Bob's question, Jessica. What are you feeding your cat? And could I get some? You know, if it's that good. I made some macaroni and cheese with turkey bits today. Yum! But I don't think your cat would have liked it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to upgrade to salmon. Yeah, oh, Bob, thank you for the clarification on the dress rehearsal. I guess there's many different kinds of dress rehearsal. Maybe it's really 2 shows. There's an informal in the morning and a formal in the evening. Maybe that's really what they're doing. Maybe there's a secret dress rehearsal that they don't tell you about. Yeah, I'm smelling that trick out there. But anyway, if it gets Lee and his wife to go, then that's probably a good thing. Well, I see we've got about 14 minutes at the top of the hour. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Dave, and maybe we'll get one more route out of this. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WU7N, thanks for that. I'm thinking about dress rehearsals. What is a dress rehearsal at a nudist colony? Something to think about. But outside of that, well, getting back to Jessica with timeline, I think the most inexpensive way to do it is call up your calendar on your computer or your cell phone and then fill in the calendar and then print it out. That would probably be the most inexpensive way of getting a timeline together. Just a suggestion. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, KD7QKU here. So Lee, I have a question for you. Do you have an iPhone? Do you use an iPhone? iPhone? Well, you don't use an iPhone. See, I have an iPhone. I wonder if it would work the same way. The only you think it would? The only cable I have is the charging cable, and it does have a USB plug on the end of it. So, yeah, okay. I'll have to plug it in, I guess, and see what happens. Maybe I'll be buying a new. So Bob is putting his hands in the air like that's not a good idea. Maybe, I don't know. So I need to discuss this a little more, I think, or look at. Maybe I'll have to do a search on my Google search or something to see about that. All right, I don't have anything else. Let's go back to that KD7KKU.
Thanks with that. And time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's take Jessica again if she's still with us, KF7UHK.
For this round, then I'll be 73 when I'm done here. Thanks for your all your support. Yeah, no, still Chloe gets fed very, very, very well. I was just saying that this bus driving job isn't needed to feed Chloe. It's my vacation. It's my cruise money. It's for going cruising and going to other parts of the world. That's what I use this job for. So if I go traveling, it's because I have this job. That's the way I look at it. Either way, I think I'm doing fine. And you guys are all. I just wanna hug you all. Great big group hug to you all right here on the radio. Good to hear Wade out there. Yeah, go to sleep, Wade. I know what that feels like. I've been every now and then I get to talking in my sleep because I'm, just kind of exhausted, worn out, and still my brain's still buzzing. And Sylvia likes to do this thing. She's got this stuffed animal that when I'm asleep, and I usually go to sleep way before her, she likes to come and stuff it under me, so I wake up with the things sitting between me and my pillow. And so then I'll wake up going, there's a bear attacking me, and she'll yell out, it's not a bear, it's a bunny. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess it is. It's got a little bunny nose and long ears. So that's the life here up in Everett. Good to hear from you folks. I hear it's going to rain, and I guess that's okay still. At least as long as it's not snowing and we start heading towards spring, I'll be really happy about that. With that, this is Jessica, and I'm going to say 73. This is KF7UHK.
UHK, well, if you're looking for attacks, look out for cougars. Let's go to Lee N7KC.
Okay, very good. N7KC here, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, very interesting net. Always learn something. Love the cartoon. I gotta get downstairs and tell Paul about that one. That's pretty good. And also for the one where it said it's not my dog. I've never heard that one either. That's cute. I don't really have anything else, and so I'm going to send it back to you, Dave, and say it's fun to see y'all. And with that, in 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles, 7-3, back to you, Dave.
Thanks for that, N7KC. Let's go to Bob, G9PQ, not our dog.
Hey, well, let's see. This is the clarification portion of the program. So I've got to clarify a couple of things. First of all, plugging in your phone is just fine. It's a very secure, good way to do it. It's just that it might be a little more complicated for you. You might need somebody to help you to find the file, but it's a good way to do it. My way I was suggesting, I think, would be easier and works fine as long as you're on Wi-Fi. As long as your phone is on Wi-Fi at home, you can just click that share button and email and, put your email address in and you're good to go. But either way is fine. Either way works just fine. And the dress rehearsal, yeah, the only, so when you're in plays, the dress rehearsal, you are dressed in your costume for the play, which is all the dress rehearsals I did. I think I was in choir, but I don't think we did a dress rehearsal for that. But in something like a symphony or a choir or something like that, if you do a dress rehearsal, generally the idea is you want it to be exactly as if you're doing the real production, and when it comes to plays, you want the costumes all to be ready to go too, so everything is done in costume. But for a symphony, you don't care that somebody's not wearing what they're going to wear at the show. So, but the basic idea is that you do the entire show all the way through as if you were doing it for real in front of an audience, and that's sort of your final test to tell you that you're ready to do it in front of a real audience, a live audience. So I found Red Top Mountain. It's on the way to Blewett Pass, which I've driven many times, and I'll have to stop by there and check out Red Top Mountain sometime. I have not actually taken that road in a very long time between Ellensburg or Cle Elum and Wenatchee, but I used to do that quite often, and I think it's about time I do it again, maybe this summer. I thought I had one more thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, timeline software. Yeah, the Google Calendar or any calendar idea is good. For me, it's Google Calendar, in case Jessica's still listening. And you can have it do, rather than displaying it as like a calendar, like a wall calendar, you can have it display it. I forget what the mode is they call it, but it's just a list. It's just a list of all of the dates for a particular calendar. So create a new calendar, put all of your timeline stuff in there, and then display it as a list, and that should get the job done, I think. It should do what you want. And I guess that's it for me. Back to Ned. Have a good night, everyone. K9PQ.
PQ. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX, see if there's any update on what's going on in Iceland.
Yes. Well, and then I'll agree with everybody on the calendar idea. In fact, that's a heck of a lot easier, I think, what Jessica's trying to do than try to do it on a project like software. A calendar, especially if you have Microsoft Outlook, has an excellent calendar to do that very thing, and I've used it quite a bit in project management and contract scheduling with my customers, and because they always want to know when they're going to get their stuff, and I've always found that if I can put it in a calendar form on when they're going to get their stuff, it's a lot easier to inflate the schedule in my favor, so that because you never want to tell them when they really might get it. You always want to pad it 2 or 3 weeks to avoid any kind of, as they would call it, liquidated damages. But thank God I never experienced that in my entire career. I mean, I know a lot of people that did. I had a lot of partners that did, but I was always able to avoid it. And I usually had a way of trying to, I might sign a contract with liquidated damages. But I had always figured out a clever way to avoid that whole aspect just by some other qualifying language in the fine print that they never would read anyway. And so, but luckily I never got down to that. So anyway, and last but not least, I had my favorite meals the last couple days. I went to Jollibee's, the Filipino equivalent to McDonald's, with chicken and fried chicken with gravy and mashed potatoes and special rice. Oh man, it's good. This time I bought 5 pieces original recipe and 5 pieces of spicy. And the thing that's cool about it is you don't have any trouble knowing the difference between the original and the spicy, which my wife doesn't like this, but they put a little flag with a toothpick that says spicy on it. So, you know, when you open up your bucket here, yeah, the spicy with all the little flags is on top, and it's separated by the original below. So we got a 10-piece bucket, and I've had about 4 or 5 meals since yesterday. So and it's still not done. So I love that place. So anytime I'm the medical center where I get my blood test is not too far from South Center, and that was another weird story because I had to go for my UW doctor, which isn't really tied in like PacMed is, but weirdly enough, as I'm driving to get my blood tested, I got a email with the I guess the prescription, so to speak. Of course, you know, I got it as I'm driving there, and then when I get there, oh no, they can't just look at it on your phone. They actually have to have the picture, the printed paper, and of course I couldn't print it there. So, and they wouldn't take an email, you know. So, oh geez. So anyway, I made a long day out of it. I went home and took a long nap, and then my wife had this great idea to go to Jollibee's, and I said, oh, okay, that makes it kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So that worked out nice. All right, you guys, well, thanks for hearing me out. It's been pretty intense. All right, we'll talk to you later. 73 K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, and it's time to wrap up the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for our voice communications for the nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.
KC disconnected.